days at the stick. From who's got it better than us to brick by brick. It's always the 49ers way, from off-season to game day. Yeah, we talk back. It's the 49ers Cutback.
It's 49ers Cutback Podcast time. Alex, time to talk about more 49ers news. Believe it or not, there's still more coming out, even though it's the bye. Still plenty to talk about.
Plenty to talk about. We got plenty to talk about all week long. So they'll be sitting there at home going, bye week. What could these guys possibly? They're just going to be pulling stuff out of their behinds. There will be no conspiracy theory episodes this week. I can guarantee you that here on the 49ers Cutback. None of that nonsense. And we got football to talk about. We got 49ers to talk about. And we obviously have our wonderful patrons over there who help support us. Those are just our GOAT tier members. There's still plenty of other patrons over there over on Patreon. So join the fellows over here, right? Just to the right of me on your screen from your direction to my left over here. And hop on over to Patreon. You don't want to miss any of the all 22 film breakdowns we got going on. Back in Times, which got released yesterday. That was a lot of fun. What a big what if scenario, and that was a good one. That was a good time. But yeah, no, lots of stuff to talk about. Let's dive into this thing right now. 49ers making moves, making not so much $1 million moves, but they're making moves on the roster. They're getting rid of some guys. Who do they get rid of, Ant?
Well, they got rid of Jacques Patrick and Davontae Harris.
That's interesting. Didn't they just activate Davontae Harris?
They did just activate Davontae Harris from the injured reserve.
Interesting.
Yeah. I think what it does is it signals that some players are going to be coming back, and they're going to need those roster spots. To activate somebody like JaMycal Hasty off the IR, you had to create room. You didn't, however, have to create room by cutting Davontae Harris for like K1 Williams to come back. So the question is, who is going to be the next person that comes back? Are they going to bring somebody else off the IR? That's a big question, because there are guys that are eligible to come, back from the IR.
This was the question I was going to ask you. So we didn't talk about this yesterday, and it's a name that I'm not seeing coming up. Kevin Givens.
Yeah,
he's a possibility. He's a candidate, right, to come back. I think it's week 7, is it not?
Well, I mean, he did get put on the IR, I believe, after the Eagles game.
That would have been week 2.
So
yeah,
he could be eligible to come back.
Okay.
It could be Kevin Givens.
Okay.
I think the most notable names are Kevin Givens, Jalen Hurd. I think are the two guys that are the most likely, because Kyle Shanahan has been clear that Jeff Wilson Jr. it appears is going to be November.
Yep.
If you were going off time period, yes, he's going to be eligible to come back after the bye, but he's not actually going to come back, according to Shanahan, until later on because of his injury. But it does bring up some interesting, talking points and conversations about who is actually going to be coming back, because they do have, as of right now, 2 roster spots available, because they haven't brought JaMycal Hasty off the IR yet. So what are they going to do? That's going to be something that's going to happen probably, later on in the week. I mean, just because they're on a bye week doesn't mean the 49ers front office doesn't keep working.
Right, Ant. That's not how this works. So, they're going to continue to do the things that they need to do and make the roster moves that they need to make. And that's okay by me. You got to do what you got to do there. It'll be interesting to see what those names are. I saw that Trey Flowers is being rumored to be cut, and some 49ers fans were immediately like, "Oh, maybe that's a guy you go and get." I don't know. You're moving on from Davontae Harris. I think you're pretty comfortable with your cornerback room right now so far, and where it's at and what it's been able to do. Josh Norman, for the most part, has been pretty fantastic and solid, as has Drake Kirkpatrick at times. Manuel Mosley's been playing lights out, and we've seen already what Diamando Lenore potentially could be in this league, which is something special. He definitely needs some time. He's got to clean up some technique stuff, but he's looking all right for a 5th round draft pick. And looking like we got a steal there. But look, these moves, these roster moves, them freeing up space, means that there's guys that are going to be either coming back, they're going to be bringing on, or maybe they're looking at trade options. Who knows? Who knows what the 49ers are really, truly up to? But I do know one thing. I know one thing, and that is that the 49ers brought some guys in for workouts this week.
Yeah.
And some of these names may surprise some people. So they brought in John Halapio and Spencer Pulley, both of them centers. Do the 49ers fans need to start being, do they need to start getting worried about Alex Mack?
No.
Okay, cool.
I don't think so. I mean, that there is nothing from Alex Mack that makes me think that they're going to go in a different direction, than him at center. They have Jake Brendel. If they wanted to go that route, Jake Brendel could come in.
So why are they bringing these guys in? Are they just trying to shore up some depth?
Yeah, you would think so. Because you're always, they've been bringing in guys all the time, right, to look at them, add people to the practice squad. It appears they're going to have an open practice squad spot Because, right, didn't you say that
Senio Calamete was just signed? I don't know if it was just now today. It looked like it was this morning, roughly around 10:48, or excuse me, Tuesday morning, 10:48. The Chargers signed Senio Calamete off the 49ers practice squad. So you have an offensive line opening there, and they're looking to fill it with the center. I guess that makes sense, right? That adds up. Kyle Shanahan values tackles and then centers. So he's bringing in 2 centers.
Well, and Jake Brendel can play guard, as well.
Also
he can play center or guard, so there's flexibility there. So you don't have to bring in just a guard. You could bring in a guy that can play center. Maybe then they do want to focus, Brendel on practicing as a guard. So you're always looking at making sure you bring in guys, take a look at them, see how they can help your football team. But they're going to make a signing to the practice squad at some point. They're going to fill this thing out. What position it's going to go, who knows? Because they've worked out over the last few weeks a plethora of wide receivers as well. If you are 6'2" and over 200 pounds, you have worked out for the 49ers at wide receiver, it feels like. So they continue to add players, and really kind of shape this roster as they're moving forward in the season. And let's see what happens. I am curious who ultimately comes back. I'm very excited about the guys that are kind of going to be coming back, because it feels like the team is even better than it was last week, when we played the last game. It feels like that, we're going to have K'Wan Williams back. We're going to have JaMycal Hasty back. And for the first time, this running back room starts to look like what we had before. We don't have Raheem Mostert, and that's a big shadow left. But Elijah Mitchell, Trey Sermon, and JaMycal Hasty, that sounds pretty good. I'm feeling nice about that. And I know that, pretty soon down the road, Jeff Wilson's going to come back too. And then you're going to have a complete, 4-headed monster of guys that can get it done for you.
Not wrong, Ant. Not wrong. I may not have liked the order you put the 3 in, because I think it's Elijah Mitchell, JaMycal Hasty, Trey Sermon.
I put Trey Sermon next because he's the one that he's been staying healthy.
Fair.
JaMycal Hasty's coming back, so I put him at the 3rd guy. But we both know Elijah Mitchell's going to take the bulk of the carries. JaMycal Hasty's going to be the 3rd down back, and Trey Sermon's going to come in if they need him to get a couple reps.
Correct.
That is what Kyle Shanahan has shown. The only reason he got to spin in those games that he got to spin is because they had guys who didn't understand the offense.
That's true.
If not, they definitely don't think he's ready. He's one of those guys that they're developing, and he's a guy that they got to work with a lot. But I like Mitchell and Hasty, so I think right away that I said 4-headed monster, but we all know Jeff Wilson Jr. is going to come in and get a bunch of bulk of the load to go with Elijah Mitchell, and then Hasty will be the one that's sprinkled, and then Trey Sermon, you don't even know if he's going to dress.
Once that point comes in time, right? I wouldn't even be shocked if Jeff Wilson asserts himself back in as 1A.
Oh, I think that's a possibility. Yeah. Jeff Wilson Jr. is like Elijah Mitchell and running style, but Jeff Wilson Jr. runs with a brutality that is not easily met by others.
He's mean.
He is.
He's just mean when he runs.
And he can do it all. Catch the ball in the backfield. Elijah Mitchell can too. Just Jeff Wilson Jr. is farther along in his development and experience.
Very true.
Yeah.
Very true. I like a lot of the things. I think the 2 of them actually are pretty complementary to each other in terms of what they can do. That's going to be a nice little tandem.
Mitchell has the speed that Wilson doesn't have.
Correct, but Wilson has that that extra level, extra layer, I guess, of physicality.
What they expect Trey Sermon to be, but is not.
No, he's not even close.
Well, not yet.
He's not, but he's not close yet. Like at this point in time,
Bobby Turner, but
it's not. It's right with Jeff Wilson right now and Trey Sermon, and this was what the idea, right? When we talked about this draft, the idea was right. It's like, oh, you got your future Raheem Mostert and Elijah Mitchell, and you got your hopeful Jeff Wilson replacement in Trey Sermon. That was the idea behind it. As of right now, Elijah Mitchell is the closest of the 2 to fulfilling the role necessary to help this offense progress forward at the rate that that's shown when Raheem Mostert's healthy. But Trey Sermon is not anywhere near what Jeff Wilson has demonstrated and shown when he's on the field. Getting him back is going to be huge. I really wish, though, it just wasn't end of November, right? I wish that timeline could move up a little bit more.
It might.
It could, but I think even Kyle was going to be very cautious about moving that up. And Jeff Wilson may even be cautious about moving that up because you don't want to come back a little bit too soon. Jeff Wilson is coming up, too, where he doesn't have much time left on that contract.
Oh, yeah, there's no time left.
This is the last year, right?
Him and Mostert are going to be free agents.
So for Jeff Wilson, you may be able to come back in at the end of the season and do something to get yourself a little bit bigger of a payday and a pay grade. However, if you also come back a little too soon, it's going to probably do more damage than if he just didn't play this year. So there's a little bit of both. He's got a lot of things weighing on him there.
He was also available during the offseason. and he signed back with the 49ers for a little over $2 million.
True.
So
you're
what
wrong.
market is actually going to be out there for Jeff Wilson Jr.? He might feel he needs to get on the field. Now, it's smart for Kyle Shanahan. Say end of November, right? That was the original diagnosis, end of November. Keep saying it. And then all of a sudden, here comes the practice window, and you can get him out there whenever he's healthy. They're not going to put him out there till he's healthy, but it's definitely been a long time, and he's gonna be perfectly prepared. I think any time at the end of October, early November is a nice chance for Jeff Wilson to come back. And if it is the end of November, then it's the end of November. I just think that the way that medicine works, and a guy like him that you're thinking probably the end of October, don't be surprised if you don't see him, against the Bears or the week after.
Yeah, I think that's a fair assessment there, and a good time frame and timeline to establish for when he could be coming back into the fold for San Francisco. It'll be much needed when the time comes. Absolutely much needed, because Elijah Mitchell has definitely carried the ball more times than he thought he was going to have to. Based on what we've seen decision-making wise from Kyle Shanahan with Trey Sermon, Trey Sermon has definitely carried the ball more times than Kyle would have liked Trey Sermon to have carried the ball this season at this point in time.
Yeah.
So Jeff Wilson will be a good mix in at that point. A guy who's coming off of an injury, who doesn't have the wear and tear necessarily on him from the season, and is going to be hopefully, feeling spry and ready to
hopefully
take the ball and elevate the run game to an even a completely different level. So no, that'll be good when it happens. But with all these roster moves and guys, working guys out, practice squad guys getting signed. I mean, this is going to be a theme like throughout the year. There's going to be more teams that are signing guys from the 49ers practice squad. There's going to be even more roster moves because you do have guys who are going to be coming available, right? Jordan Willis is a guy that they're going to have to address when the time comes as well and get him back and active and back into the fold. Same thing with Dre Greenlaw when the time comes as well. But Jimmy Garoppolo, it looks like, is a guy who's going to be ready now for Week 7 per Kyle Shanahan on KNBR. He said it. The words came out of his mouth. It looks like he's going to be A-okay. He's going to be fine. He's going to be able to go and possibly start, depending on how Trey's feeling. I imagine they're going to go back to Jimmy Week 7. I know for most 49er fans, I don't know about most. Let's just go half the fan base is screaming right now. They've taken their phone, they've thrown it into the pillow, and now they're burying their face and yelling. And the other half is throwing a party, and they're going to have a fiesta, and they're going to want to invite people over and celebrate. As long as he's 100%, this is definitely the situation to go with, especially with Trey coming off the knee stuff. You don't want to have to force him out there too much and too early. How are you feeling about this? Are you wary of him being ready, or he should be good to go? Does that make you wary? Or do you feel like, the injury was significant enough to prevent him from playing at a high level, and that's why they made the move with Trey that they did, and that he should have plenty of time to be ready to go for this Week 7 matchup against the Colts?
I've been consistent in my belief that Kyle Shanahan's going to do what's necessary to win football games and make decisions that are best for his football team. And I think he felt that Jimmy Garoppolo, in the way he was physically, wasn't the best option. That Trey gave them a better option to win that game against Arizona. So he went with Trey. And I think that in the next game, he's going to believe that it's going to be Jimmy Garoppolo that gives him the best option to win the game against the Colts. Some of it is scheme, some of it's matchup, whatever. But I think there's an opportunity there. Anyone that watched the Monday Night Football game knows that the Colts got absolutely torn to shreds by Lamar Jackson throwing the football.
Correct.
Not running the football, but throwing the football.
Yeah, 49ers fans worried about our secondary.
Woo. 37-42 for over 400 yards and 4 touchdowns. From what a lot of people call a running back, was very well done by Lamar Jackson. I'm actually a Lamar Jackson fan overall, not a hater at all, but he went out there and tore it up and even shattered expectations of what I think he can do. So well done by him. But I think that leaves possibilities for the 49ers to be able to take advantage of that secondary. And I think that you want a complete offense out there. And I think Jimmy Garoppolo is going to be that guy. And I think that they still want Trey Lance to continue to learn and grow. And I'm not saying that at some point you don't turn to Trey Lance. But I think right now that Jimmy Garoppolo still gives the 49ers a better chance. And if in this game, at any point, it doesn't appear he gives the 49ers a better chance,
make the switch.
Or Kyle Shanahan doesn't feel it gives the 49ers a better chance, you make the switch and you roll with it. And guess what? there won't be going back after that.
No, I mean, if Jimmy's healthy, Jimmy is healthy and you're making the move, there's no going back.
But I do think that is where he's going to go right now. I do think he felt like the offense was limited with Trey Lance at the helm. Not so much because of Trey's skills, but Trey's experience inside the system and knowing what to do. And now he's going to go back to a quarterback that has a complete grip and grasp of it. And even just listening to the way he talks about Jimmy Garoppolo's release and how quick it is, he said there's no one in the league that has a release that fast. No one.
Jimmy Garoppolo, 2.56 seconds from this so far this season, from snap to throw. It's 2.56 seconds for Jimmy to get the ball. That's the fourth fastest time to release in the league this year. And it doesn't take him 2.5 seconds to release. It takes him significantly less than that. But that's how long it's taking him to get out. Trey Lance was a full 3.13, I think, or 1.2. Excuse me, 1.2 against Arizona. This was something that Kyle talked about on KNBR also. They asked him about this a little bit and Trey's release time and all those types of things. And basically what Kyle had to say is he thinks that Trey does have a quick release. He thinks that Trey's release is quick. What Trey's release isn't is consistent, which tells me that Trey's release is quick at times and then other times falls out of what he's been working on, because you and I have seen the release when he's got the wind. When he's winding at the throw and the bullets are flying, he doesn't plant the back foot quick, or he takes a little bit of time with his read, and that ball comes down below that chest area. There was a couple of times, man, it was getting dangerously close to Tebow territory with that release, with how far down that ball was coming down, like towards his hip almost. When his release is elongated like that, it makes everything hard. It makes timing hard. It makes throws over the middle hard. Throws getting past the line of scrimmage hard because they're easy to time and bat down. And I liked Kyle's comments for two reasons. Number one, he's pointing out, he's finding a way to sandwich the criticism in between some good things and some positive things for Trey, right? Those compliment sandwiches. We get a compliment, some criticism, and a compliment. And you throw it together, and it's like, yeah, you know what? It may not taste the best, but I don't hate this. I don't hate this at all. Kyle doing a very good job of being, not delicate isn't the right word, but being thoughtful about how he discusses Trey to the media, how he discusses Trey just in general, because the reality of the situation is Trey's got weaknesses. And you can't just put the kid up on a pedestal and be like, oh no, he's perfect already, because if he's perfect, then he should be starting. If he's perfect, he's better than Jimmy Garoppolo. Like that's because nobody thinks Jimmy's perfect, and Jimmy isn't by any stretch of the imagination. Jimmy is not a perfect quarterback, but Jimmy's strengths right now are what make him the better option for this team at the moment. The quick release, the understanding of the system, full grasp of the playbook, able to check in and out of plays. You're not going to give Jimmy Garoppolo one play and go to the line of scrimmage and be like, all right, hope it's there, I hope it's good. There are going to be times you're going to get up to the line of scrimmage and Trey's only going to have one option, that's run what's in front of you. This is it right here, guy. You're going to have to get it done. And there's other times where you can put him in situations where he's comfortable, as demonstrated, he understands a concept or a read or a coverage or a scheme or what he may see. And you can give him a couple plays and you can go and can one or kill one. Didn't see a lot of killing. I did see him canning into a couple plays this weekend, and for the most part, when he canned, the play worked. It was positive gain.
There was one run to Elijah Mitchell that was great. It was like a 7 or 8 yard gain.
Those things are positive. Yeah. Because it means he's recognizing and seeing the right things and getting them and keeping them, in the right play and not getting out of something. So all of those things are great. All those things are positive. All those things are things that can be built upon. But they're being built upon, right? It's not already set. The foundation isn't fully laid, and this isn't a structure that's ready to be built and to put the team on top of as Trey Lance carries his team to victory. He's not quite there yet.
I think that this is getting closer, though.
It is.
I think that Jimmy Garoppolo being out left a little bit of a spot for Trey Lance to close the gap.
Well, look, what did Kyle say a couple days ago, right? He literally said, well, Jimmy the quarterback. No, Jimmy's not the quarterback, guaranteed going forward. It's whoever gives us the best chance to win. A month ago, when the season started, Kyle was literally saying Jimmy is QB1 and Trey is QB2. Now it's whoever gives us the best chance to win. It was always whoever gives us the best chance to win. But the fact that Kyle is now putting it out there open in the public tells you, right, that Jimmy being injured has opened the door. And Trey Lance didn't kick the door off the hinges and say, this is my job now. But he also didn't make Kyle run over, close the door, lock, and be like, oh, no, we're not doing that again.
No, he put his foot in between the door, and the door couldn't be shut.
He's giving himself time.
He is. And I think that there's an avenue for him to get there. But Jimmy Garoppolo can go stop all that if he goes out against the Colts and completely has a dynamic game. If he goes and has a dynamic game, then it puts that talk on the back burner for a week. Because every single week, that's going to be the talk and that's going to be the conversation, is which quarterback is going to be out there. And I think we could see both quarterbacks at times, because I think Trey is definitely You've proven that he deserves a little bit of the leash. Get him out there, let him run a couple series, let him throw the football. He brings added aspects to this football team that are fun to watch. I mean, it really is. I mean, as far as exciting, yeah, it's fun to watch. But as far as execution wise, it's a little less fun to watch because he doesn't execute at a high level. The normal offense, I think that is the difference. Is it's more like him creating. He's out there. He's a point guard that kind of goes rogue and just creates and then make something beautiful out of it. Where with Jimmy Garoppolo, he's going to go out there and he's going to just do what he's supposed to do, right? It's more surgeon-like. It's like, oh, I'm supposed to do this. I'm going to be very precise and hit it right here. And there's just a different element to each one of those guys. And I'm hoping that eventually Trey gets closer to Jimmy on precise inside the pocket. And then when it breaks down, then he does all the creative, great things that he can do. And if it does, we'll see a Steve Young-like meteoric rise for him. But I think right now, I think that they'll feel comfortable going back to Jimmy because he can get him in and out of the plays. He'll slide protections like he needs to do. Trey struggled a little bit with moving protections in this game, and that's the quarterback's call. That's his job. And he didn't always do it right, and he can't be expected to do it right. He's a rookie that's trying to learn the system, learn different fronts, learn different sets, and when a defense throws something at him that he's not prepared for, how can we expect him to know what to do? He doesn't. Sometimes it's just experience, and in the NFL, playing quarterback, experience is everything, and a lot of that experience is in the film room. A lot of that experience is at practice, working with your coaches. It doesn't have to be just game experience. I know a lot of people are saying that that's where the reps need to come is in the game, but that's not 100% accurate. That is part of it, but that's not all of it.
It can be a part of it, right? It can be a part of the equation, but it's not the whole equation.
Yeah.
Equations aren't ever written on one side. There's two sides of every equation, and both of them have to balance out in order for there to be.
Don't do math talk.
I apologize. I know I'm not the horse. I apologize. That's not my forte at all whatsoever. You're wrong. You're not wrong. You're not wrong. But look, at the end of the day, you need both. Mental reps, practice reps, game reps are all important. All of those things are important. But the mental stuff, the film study, all of that, and the practice reps, all can have just as big of an impact, if not more of an impact, on a guy's development and where he is when he comes in for his first real game snaps. And we saw a little bit of that on display this past weekend. I mean, we truly did. We saw some of the things that helped Trey from the previous week, things that he missed that he then capitalized on. And then you saw new mistakes and new things being made because Trey's not familiar with the scheme. Trey's not familiar with the blitz. Trey's not familiar with guys slow rushing at times in the pocket. I mean, we saw a lot of that. We didn't see a lot of that against Seattle. There wasn't a lot of slow rushing. They just sent their 4 guys or their 5 guys in and then just went after Trey. And Trey had his opportunities to get outside the pocket. Trey had his opportunities to throw, and he had his time to throw at certain points in the game. Arizona would send blitzes all out, pressure, and he had to get the ball quick. And then they would send pressure, but it was slow rush and delayed and trying to keep Trey in the pocket and him having to be like, okay, I have a little more time here than maybe I thought. Him starting to move sometimes when he didn't need to move. All of those things he's still learning and figuring out. And again, you can pick up all of those things in practice because all those things can be simulated. They don't have to necessarily be in a game in order for that to be something you can learn from and understand and get comfortable doing. So yeah, balance between those two things and not feeling like you have to rush the guy out there. Kyle Shanahan doesn't feel he has to rush the guy out there. What Kyle Shanahan feels rushed to do is get him up to speed as quickly as humanly possible. Because with Jimmy Garoppolo now, you don't know. You don't know if the other shoe is going to drop or when it's going to drop because Jimmy has already gone down with an injury this year. If Jimmy comes back and plays great for 2 or 3 games and the 49ers get some wins, that's awesome. But game 4, game 5, game 6, something could happen. Jimmy could be out. And you're going to have to turn to the young man to get it done. Hopefully that's not the case. Hopefully Jimmy can just stay healthy, and hopefully the offense can get clicking and get rolling.
Yeah, that's what I'm hoping. I'm hoping they find some chemistry, and they're really able to work together. Because I think we saw it in Detroit. It seemed like that was a well-oiled machine in the first part of that game, where they were just rolling on offense, boom, 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 boom. And then Philly, run some different things at them and really got them off their game a little bit, and it didn't look as exciting. And then all of a sudden, it got to the end of the first half, and it was like, oh, here they come again. And they played well. And I think that these defenses have kind of figured out how they want to play this incarnation of the San Francisco 49ers. And now the 49ers have to adjust and be able to do something different. And I think once they do, and I think they'll do it coming out of the bye week. The bye week allows these guys to prepare a little bit. They'll be able to come out and run something a little bit different, a little bit something that nobody's ready for. Kyle Shanahan and Mike McDaniel will be able to put together a little bit of a better plan using the tools that they have. and they're going to have more tools than they had the last couple of weeks because they're going to have guys coming back. Having a healthy Elijah Mitchell and JaMychal Hasty are a big piece of that. They're still going to be missing George Kittle, and that's going to be a huge loss. So how many tight ends they play on the field at a time might go down. It might change. They might want to, because of the secondary of the Colts, you guys might see more 4 receiver sets in this game, 5 receiver sets, depending on who is out there. Probably 4 in Juice because Juice is that guy. But they're going to have to rely on these receivers to make plays in the game. And I know a lot of people were very upset with the 49ers playing Travis Benjamin. But there is a play, and I can't wait till we break down the all-22, or everyone gets to see the all-22. Because there's a play where Deebo Samuel catches the ball over the middle and Trey makes a great read and a great throw. But it's the Travis Benjamin effect. He takes 3 guys deep with him. 3 guys deep. If that's not Travis Benjamin, they don't respect the deep ball. And Deebo Samuel's not as wide open. So Kyle Shanahan knows what he's doing. He knows how to use these guys in the right way. Sometimes it's just execution of those plays that's not working. And if there's plays that aren't working because he schemed it up wrong, then he deserves the criticism. But there's a lot of cool stuff that's going on there in some of these games. They just got to get it all figured out. And once they do, and it all starts flowing and making sense, then it's going to work.
I agree with you 100%. We'll see how this plays out. We'll see how this pans out.
Yeah.
And look, there's a lot of other wonderful things to talk about, including John Lynch's comments on KNBR about a Brandon Ayuk. But maybe we're going to save that for a special episode.
Yeah.
Cutback Crew, you won't want to miss that conversation and that discussion on Brandon Ayuk. What's going on there? Can he get it turned around? Can he get it fixed? And can he have a bigger impact the second half of the season? That's going to be a lot of fun when we do go and dive into that conversation, so don't miss out on that. And we also still have Quest for the West coming to you tonight. It will be me, myself, here, and our boy Evan from the He's on Fire podcast talking about the Cardinals. Sam won't be able to be there tonight. Got a little bit of a hiccup, a little bit of a scheduling issue, but that's A-okay. We'll get him on the next week and get his feelings on Russell Wilson and what's going on there, especially now with we'll get a full Geno Smith experience for the Seattle Seahawks.
True.
And get a better idea of what's going on there. So we'll see you over for Quest for the West, 5:30 p.m. Pacific time. Don't miss out on that. And don't forget to hit the like button and that subscribe button. We're getting so close to 2K. We're almost there. Goal was 2K by the bye week. Help us get there today. We'd really appreciate it.
Yeah, definitely help us out. Join the conversation. Let us know. We've been getting some good comments. We've been getting some very opinionated comments, some aggressive comments. As long as you don't name call, I mean, go ahead and say what you want. I mean, I don't really care. If you don't agree with our opinions, say it. Say why you agree or why you make your statements, and that's fine. And we'll have a conversation about it. So go ahead and do that. Let us know why we're completely wrong and why your points are right, and we'll talk about it.
Absolutely, we love talking about it. We it's not about being right; it's about conversing. Someone is always going to be right and wrong. Just the nature of the world and how things work. We just want to have a conversation about it. We want to talk about it. We want to discuss it with you, Cutback Crew, and the faithful. So make sure you're commenting down below, like Ant just said. Hit that like button, hit that notification bell as well, and that subscribe button. Any of you that want to hop over on over to Patreon as well, we got all 22 film coming out today, so you don't want to miss any of that. Wonderful breakdown of Trey's first game. Trey Day in the Bay. Well, technically in Arizona and Phoenix, but hey, it's fine. You can go watch that.
Glendale.
Arizona. We just put it that way. You can head on over there. It'll be a lot of fun. You won't want to miss out on any of that. And until the next one, Cutback Crew and the faithful, you stay safe.
Remember, the right way is always the 49ers way.